What martial art does is it makes you more of who you are, right? To a large extent. What do I mean? What I mean is if you are an evil-minded fellow, right, and then you start doing martial arts, you're gonna be an evil-minded martial artist, right? But on the other hand, if you're a good guy, very upright, very moral, and then you do martial arts, then you're an upright, moral martial artist. Allow me to give you some examples. So, for example, once upon a time, um, I saw this guy passed out on the street. This was when I was in high school, where I was just starting at my martial arts training, right? So, classic example: a guy is on the street, unconscious. People are just walking past him, right? My natural instinct as a nice guy is to help this unconscious person on the floor, right? So I walk up to him, right, and I'm gonna go take a look and see how this guy is. But alarm bells start going off. You know that how some people take advantage of nice guys, basically, where they pretend to be injured or sick, and then once you try to help them, you put yourself in a disadvantaged position, right? So those things were running through my head, and I wouldn't get close to the guy, right? And then one of the other, bystanders there walked up to me and said, "Hey, look, man, I think he's okay." Because he said, if this guy was injured, we would see blood, and number two, people would call the cops. The cops aren't here, there's no blood. I think he's just drunk, let him be. Since I was a young boy at the time, I was what? I think I was 15, 14, not that young, but still pretty young. But very early in my martial arts training, I thought, this guy just gave me an out. I'm not gonna help. Good luck, fellow. Don't get drunk on the streets again, right? Fast forward that to the future, right? Where I saw this. Now, when I say fast forward that to the future, it's now almost 10 years later. I've been practicing martial arts for more than 10 years at this point. I see this woman being harassed by a man, right? And not to make the story too long, eventually I walked up. At first I didn't want to get involved because I thought it might be a domestic thing. Maybe it's a boyfriend-girlfriend fight. You don't want to get involved with that. But I stuck around to watch to see that it doesn't escalate, right? After a certain point, I walked up to the two and then I said, "Hey, miss, is this guy bothering you? Do you need some help?" And she goes, "Yes, thank you. Let me ride a jeep so I can get away from here." And then the guy kept going at me, and he went off at me and he said, "Hey, look, it's none of your business. Don't bother with this." But obviously, the girl's being harassed. So I very calmly looked at the guy and said, "Look, she wants to ride. Get on her ride." I let her get on her ride. Just back off, right? Now, why am I illustrating this point? Now, the second situation is actually more patently dangerous, I think, or more obviously dangerous than the first one. The first one, it could be dangerous, or the guy could just be drunk, or whatever, right? In the second situation, there is obviously an aggressive guy there. But I was more willing to help in that situation because by this point, I've had years and years of martial arts training. I know how to keep my distance from this guy, at what point he becomes a danger to me. I can read body language so much better at this point. Like, I can tell if he's gonna get violent, or my reflexes are better. Like, I know which angles attacks come from at this point. So all in all, I felt more confident to help this woman. So this is what I mean by martial arts helps you become more of who you are. If you're a nice guy, right, it allows you to feel safe to be nice, right? To help people, even because honestly, if you go out there, being helpful can put you in danger, right? Which brings you to the opposite situation. I used to be of the thought that yes, it makes you a nicer person, but I've seen the opposite happen. I've seen guys who are more willing to get into fights because they have really fragile egos, but they have martial arts training. Like I saw this video of a guy on the internet where he was getting into an argument over traffic, where he was obviously the guy in the wrong, right? But he was getting into the argument. He's a big guy. I don't know if he's had martial arts training, but he's obviously a big guy, and he looks like he can handle himself. And he was more aggressive. He's like punching at the hood of the other car, and I was thinking, look, this guy is physically able, and he's using that physical ability not for the good of society, but to harass someone who he thinks has offended him. And that just brings me to the idea that yes, martial arts can help you be more of who you are. If this guy knew martial arts, it's helping him be more of an asshole, to be honest, right? So that's my thought for that for now. Martial arts techniques are not moral or immoral; they're just amoral, basically. A lot of it depends on your situation, but a big part of it, I think, is it just makes you more of who you are. All right. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions or comments, just put them down. Thank you.